Ever heard of Lulu Group International?
Sure have.
I mean, you'd have to be living under a rock not to have seen one of their stores, right? I was reading they have something like over 200 stores globally. It's not just supermarkets either.
Yeah, they're into all sorts of things.
It really makes you wonder how these businesses get so huge. How do they go from, just starting out to being everywhere?
Well, that's what we are going to find out today.
Right. In this deep dive, we are looking into, the story of Lulu Group International.
Yep.
We've got a bunch of material here, articles, reports,
A whole 9 yards.
trying to figure out how they became this global giant and, what lessons there are to be learned, especially for those of us, trying to figure out how businesses actually, succeed.
Right, because it's one thing to have a good idea,
Totally.
but turning that into a business that actually grows and expands internationally,
That's a whole different ballgame.
that's the real challenge.
Okay, so to kick things off, let's talk about the founder, Yusuf Ali, born back in 1955 in India, a small village in Kerala. Not exactly born with a silver spoon, right?
Not at all. Middle-class family. The sources we've got really emphasize the importance of his upbringing, though.
Oh, yeah, like what his parents taught him.
Yeah, hard work, perseverance.
Yeah,
Those values seem to have really stuck with him.
makes sense. And he got an education in Kerala, but didn't exactly follow the typical career path after that, did he?
He didn't. He seemed to be drawn to business from the start. This real entrepreneurial spirit, wanted to make his own way. And that led him to a pretty big decision.
Moving to the UAE in 1973, that was a time of massive change there, wasn't it?
It was. The UAE was booming, tons of construction, new businesses popping up everywhere, and Yusuf Ali jumped right in.
So he wasn't afraid to take risks.
Not one bit.
Yeah.
He worked in all sorts of businesses in those early years. Retail, trading, getting a feel for how things work.
Learning the ropes.
Exactly.
Now, fast forward a bit to 1995. This is a big one.
Oh, yeah?
The first Lulu hypermarket opens in Abu Dhabi.
Big moment.
But it wasn't just your average grocery store, was it?
No, not at all. It was meant to be this one-stop shop. You could find almost anything there. Groceries, electronics, clothes, you name it. And they made a point of offering good quality stuff at prices people could afford.
Okay, so the selection was huge, the prices were good.
And that's what drew people in. It wasn't just about shopping. It was an experience. Like, wow, I can get everything I need right here.
So, what we might call the Lulu formula.
Sure.
What were the key ingredients that made this first hypermarket such a hit?
Well, a lot of it comes down to, like you said, the formula.
Mm-hmm.
They really focused on the customer. What did people need? What did they want?
What were they looking for?
And they understood that the Middle East is super diverse.
Yeah, tons of people from all over the world.
So they had to cater to all those different tastes, right?
So, what did that look like in practice? How did they handle that cultural side of things?
We'll take food, for example. They made sure to stock ingredients for all sorts of cuisine.
Makes sense.
Indian spices, Middle Eastern staples, Western favorites, whatever people were used to cooking, they could find it there.
So they weren't just trying to force one kind of product on everyone.
Nope. They were adapting. They realized, hey, if we want to succeed here, we have to cater to everyone.
Smart move. And it clearly paid off because after that first hypermarket, things took off pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah.
It became a big deal in the UAE, right?
Huge. And it makes sense. They offered good stuff at good prices, so people kept coming back. They built up this reputation for quality and affordability.
And that's how you build a loyal customer base.
Absolutely. And that strong base in the UAE, that's what allowed them to expand across the entire Gulf region.
It was like a stepping stone.
Exactly. They went into Saudi Arabia, Oman, Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain. I mean, they were everywhere.
Talk about ambitious. And it didn't stop there.
No, it didn't.
They went international too. India, Southeast Asia.
Mhm.
It's pretty incredible how far they reached.
Oh, for sure. And what's interesting is that in these new markets, they kind of flipped the script.
What do you mean?
Well, in the Gulf, they were known for offering products from all over.
Yeah, you're catering to everyone.
But in places like India, they became the place to find international goods. Stuff that wasn't easy to get otherwise.
So they kind of adapted their strategy based on the market.
Exactly. Smart move.
But Lulu wasn't content with just supermarkets.
Yep.
They branched out, got involved in all sorts of things.
They did.
Hospitality,
That's right.
real estate,
Big time.
even logistics and IT. What was behind that diversification?
Well, I think they realized they had this strong foundation.
They'd conquered the supermarket game.
Right. And they had all this expertise. So they thought, why not use that to explore other opportunities
It was about leveraging what they built.
and spreading their wings a bit. not putting all their eggs in one basket.
Especially that move into real estate, that's a whole different ballgame.
It is. But it really shows their ambition. They wanted to be more than just a retail giant.
They wanted to be a major player in the region, period.
Exactly. They were thinking long-term, building an empire, not just a business.
Fascinating stuff. So we've talked about the company's growth.
Right.
But what about the man behind it all? What was it about M.A. Yusuf Ali's leadership that made all this possible?
Well, I think it comes down to a few things. One, he really understood the markets they were serving. Like we talked about with the cultural sensitivity. He knew what people wanted, what they valued.
It wasn't just about slapping up a store and hoping for the best.
No way. He was strategic. He knew that to win over customers, you had to connect with them on a deeper level. And that meant offering products they actually wanted at prices they could afford.
And that brings us to this idea of affordable luxury. How did they manage to pull that off? Offering high-quality goods without the high-end price tag.
That's the million-dollar question.
Right.
And the answer is, well, it's a mix of things. They were really good at sourcing products efficiently, getting the best deals, cutting out unnecessary costs.
So keeping things lean and mean behind the scenes.
Exactly. But they also understood that people want value.
They want to feel like they're getting a good deal.
Exactly. So even though they were offering high-quality products, they kept the prices competitive.
So it was like democratizing quality, making it accessible to everyone.
Exactly. And that was a big part of their appeal. People felt like they were getting something special without breaking the bank.
Brilliant. Now, obviously, the world's changed a lot since Lulu first started out.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with technology. So how did they adapt to the digital age?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And to their credit, they adapted pretty well. They launched their online store, making it possible for people to shop from anywhere.
But it's not just about having a website, is it?
Not at all.
Yeah.
They had to rethink their whole logistics operation, how to get products to people quickly and efficiently. And they invested heavily in technology, things like self-checkout kiosks, smart inventory systems.
Streamlining the whole process.
Exactly. And that allowed them to keep up with the times.
And they've gotten a lot of recognition for their success, haven't they? Awards, mentions in Forbes. M.A. Yusuf Ali is one of the wealthiest Indian expats.
Yeah, he's up there.
Yeah.
And it's a testament to what they've built. They went from a single hypermarket to over 200 stores globally.
It's really remarkable. But it wasn't all smooth sailing, was it? They faced challenges along the way.
Oh, for sure. I mean, as they got bigger, competition got tougher.
More players entering the market.
Big international companies. And they had to constantly innovate, stay ahead of the curve.
And with online shopping becoming more popular, they had to adapt to that too.
Absolutely. That was a huge shift for the whole industry. And Lulu had to figure out how to make online shopping work for them, invest in logistics, delivery networks.
Because if you can't get the product to the customer quickly and easily...
You're dead in the water.
Exactly. Now, beyond the business side of things, there's another aspect to M.A. Yusuf Ali that we should mention.
Right, his philanthropy.
The guy's a major philanthropist. He's done so much for his home state of Kerala, especially in education and healthcare.
He has built schools, hospitals, and when Kerala was hit by those terrible floods a few years back, he was right there, providing aid.
So not just a successful businessman, but someone who gives back to his community in a big way.
Absolutely. He understands that success isn't just about money. It's about using your position to make a positive impact.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
Let's try to wrap things up. What are the big takeaways from Lulu's journey? What can we learn from their success?
Well, I think the biggest thing is the importance of understanding your customers.
Knowing what they want, what they need.
Right, and not just on a superficial level, but really understanding their values, their culture.
That's that deep level of connection we talked about.
Exactly, and you have to be adaptable.
The world's constantly changing.
You got to be willing to change with it. Embrace new technologies, explore new opportunities.
And never underestimate the power of giving back. It's not just about profits, it's about making a difference. So as we wrap up our deep dive into Lulu's incredible rise, it really gets you thinking, doesn't it?
It does.
What do you think is the most crucial ingredient for a business to, really make it big in today's world? Is it about having the best product, the most innovative technology, or is there something else, something deeper that truly sets the stage for lasting success? Something to ponder, right? Thanks for joining us on this fascinating journey into the world of global business.
My pleasure.